everyone. Thank you for tuning in with Dr. Leisha, the Preacha-OK. Now, this live here may be different from all the other lives I may ever do. And this is the end of my traditional career, if I ever had a career. Video. I started working at age 13. And when I turned 14, they put me on payroll because it wasn't legal to work until I was 14. But I started off making $10 a day. I would walk 2 blocks down to the local pharmacy. And I believe I've told this story before, but I'm telling it again. So in 8th grade, my English teacher, I believe it was the same English teacher that connected me with Dudley Randall, the poet out of Detroit that had me dance for him for a few years. So anyway, I believe it's the same English teacher. She had an assignment in class for us to go interview a professional person, preferably someone that was not in our immediate family. Someone we didn't know, you know. So I decided to ask the pharmacist down the street. And after the interview, and I did my paper and all that, he hired me and paid me $10 a day. His name was Ted Miarka. Um, he considered himself Jewish. I'm not sure how or why, but he did. And so I believe I worked at that drugstore from age 13, 14 until age 20 when I got married. So that was like 7 years. The first 7 years of my work life was at the same place, a pharmacy, the local pharmacy, drugstore down the street. It was connected to a doctor's office, like a clinic kind of thing. And most of our prescriptions were called in from Dr. Swabini. Dr. Swabini, I don't know what his um, original national origin was, but you know, by the time I was 16, Dr. Swabini was calling and talking to me directly, and I was writing prescriptions. you know, I never really had an opportunity to talk about that. Ted Miarka was a fairly, aged man. He was an older man, and he didn't remember a lot of things, but he had children around my age. So, he couldn't like not work. He was a pharmacist making a lot of money. He couldn't not work and provide for his family. So I was 16, 17, 18, basically running the store, running a pharmacy without a license, you know. But anyway, so I started working really young. So if you add it all up, I've worked 40 years. I'm 54 right now. I turn 55 very soon. So I've worked 40 years. I won't have a pension of my own. A lot of my work years of those 40 years was spent raising a family, you know, two husbands, four kids. I'm on grandchild number 8. So there's really no pension for all that. There's no, you know, no real social security benefits for all that part. Um, I'm blessed to receive alimony, thankfully, but there's just no compensation for the 40 years that I invested from age 13 up until now. There's no compensation for that really on many levels. And then, of course, alimony is just, I'm thankful for it, of course, not complaining. But nonetheless, I have about 7 more years to reach age 62. And technically, on a physical level, I could probably knock down these last 7 years. But I will tell you, socially, emotionally, and in other ways, I don't have the juice to make it. And I know I don't. you know. Now can I fake it like a lot of people do? Just show up and blow up in ways that people don't want. Trying to force something that's just not really there. Yeah, I could do that. But I'm choosing not to. I'm choosing to invest my last 7 years, the last little bit of energy I have in juice. I'd rather put that in my children and grandchildren. I'd rather make sure that they get back and forth to work, that they get back and forth to school, that they get what they need. I'd rather go without for 7 years. You know, uh, if I can afford a car, right now I have cars, thank God. I had to get rid of my car payment and just pay cash for a couple of cars. You know what I mean? Just pay cash and just maintain them. I eat free food, a lot of free food. Um, I'm just gonna have to pace myself to make sure that I'm there for 2 generations. That makes more sense to me. My grandson is 14 and he's already working 2 jobs. You know, that means something to me, y'all. That adds up in an internal way. That just lets me know it's time for me to support them. Right now, physically, give my physical strength to them, making sure they get what they need. Why spend my last 7 years in the workplace, combating with people when I can sacrifice just a little bit more. It's not like sacrifice is new to me. Sacrifice just a little bit more to make sure my 14-year-old grandson benefit in every way possible. I want to make sure my 30-year-old daughter maximizes her opportunity to be a manager. You know what I mean? That makes more sense to me than me trying to prove something that doesn't need to be proven anymore. It's not like I've never been a manager before in my life. You know what I mean? Once you've gotten there, you've gotten there. Now it's time for me to use my time and energy wisely. I already know I'm crazy. I already told my all my jobs since I had my first suicide attempt in 2011 that I struggle with these things. You know what I mean? I know I'm crazy. That's nothing new. You know, and I'm very expressive and fun and exciting and colorful and decorative, and despite everything I went through and the tears you may see come down my face, I'm happy and have a lot of joy too. It's weird, you know, how you can have pain and joy. I don't know how it can happen, but you know, hey, it is what it is. And people like me, we don't have many friends. And in my case, I have zero. And I'm okay with that too. I'm okay with zero friends. My social skills are zero. I can't even hold a conversation with a person anymore. It's very difficult. It's life. I've burned out at 54. I've burned out socially, you know. And I know I'm complicated and I know I'm difficult and all that stuff. I know it. And I try to compensate for it. And I try to, you know, make sure that my kids and grandkids are not, um, that they don't suffer too much because of it. I mean, they have to suffer some. I mean, you know, but they don't have to suffer the full blown effects. They don't. Because just because a person is quote unquote crazy, their social skills are below average, um, because they have no friends. All family, are embarrassed by me. I know. I know my family is embarrassed. And I am not going to put myself out in the workplace anymore to bring embarrassment to the workplace. I'm not going to put myself out in too many situations to embarrass my family anymore. But what I will do is continue to be on YouTube. I will continue to be me. I will continue to have a voice. I will continue to create. And I will continue to put myself out there in ways that make me happy. But I will not put myself in the ways or put myself in the on the path to humiliate, embarrass my family anymore. I don't have any friends, so I don't have to worry about embarrassing friends. But as far as my family, they have their own lives, their own journeys, their own jobs and friends and people. So they can focus on themselves and those people. But as far as me, I'm going to focus on myself and making sure I leave all my wealth to them. The only thing I have left to do, since, I don't really have any, family except for my own offspring, kids and grandkids. That's all I really have left. And I don't have any friends. And I don't have any coworkers or, the workplace is gone. That's off my radar. Since there's no one to embarrass and no one to humiliate or but me. And I can't embarrass myself no more. I've learned to love myself now. You know what I mean? I enjoy my own company now. I enjoy, you know, me. I don't have a whole lot to work with, but I don't need a whole lot, you know. And I just want to make sure my kids and grandkids are successful in whatever they want to do. If they want to be traditional, I want to make sure that they are successful in that. If they don't want to be traditional, then fine. They don't have to be. They can be weird like me and crazy, and that's cool. I want to create a world where they can choose to be traditional or non traditional. I was able to do that for me, and I want to be able to do that for them. And I am so thankful to all my employers between the pharmacy and then my last gig. My last gig was so cool. My last gig, everything in life has pros and cons, but my last gig was needed to put a mirror in my face. And this last job was more than just a job. I mean, I know we live in a world that says, a job is just a job. It's a cold world and, don't mean nothing and just get your paycheck, pay your bills and go home. For some people, that's what a job is. For me, it's not just that. My first job saved my life, and this last job saved my life too. Like I was saying, it put a mirror to my face. It showed me the best parts of me, and it showed me the worst parts of me. It showed me that I have more work to do on myself. It showed me that I needed to make a choice. It showed me that my breath stank. It did. And that I need to brush my teeth, you know, get teeth whiteners. I need to clean myself up, accept who I am, you know, because when you stay past the point of effectiveness, when you're past the due point, you become a mockery. People will laugh at you. They will show no mercy, you know. And I want my career that is unique to me. It's nobody else's career. Does my career end with its own pension? No. And my career will end with a very, very small Social Security. Very, very small. Of my own. You know what I'm saying? But it ended with me looking good to me. I felt good going. I was happy being chosen, being sought after. You know, um, it represented more than just a paycheck. It allowed me to end starting off that 13-year-old girl working at the drugstore just, a few blocks down the street. And it's so funny how I'm kind of ending the same way. I'm in a lot of ways that little girl still who was just working down the street. I started that way and I ended that way. But the difference is at the beginning of this 7 years, before it could even really get started good, I said, you know what? I pressed the pause button. As crazy as that is, well, I'm crazy anyway, so, it just makes sense. I pressed the pause button. I'll just go ahead and say Most High. Most High did it. Press that pause button and said, look, do you want another 7 years of what that little girl went through? Or do you want 7 years of what you want to do for yourself? What you want to do for your family? You know? I may be crazy in the head, guys. You know what I mean? Meaning that my social skills are just suck. Um, and whatever else crazy means. But physically, I'm fine. I mean, physically, I don't have any health issues that I'm aware of. Let me knock on some wood. Boom, 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 boom. Knock, knock. Okay. Physically, I'm fine. Um, I've been abstaining. You know, read between the lines on that one, guys. I've been abstaining almost 2 years. I still know all my stuff from college. All my books and intellectual stuff. I mean, I have a PhD, so all that stuff is still there. My biblical knowledge is all still there. My spiritual life is off the chain. The spiritual part of me is probably what makes me look, sound crazy. You know what, guys? That's the part that. Oh, gosh. Okay, let me go. Okay, oh, wow, that's weird. Anyway, yeah, that's what. Okay, yeah, my spirituality makes me look and sound crazy. Okay, well, it is what it is. So, spirit hijacked my natural life, pretty much shut it down to minimal functionality, you know. So, where am I headed from here? Personally, it's just a spiritual thing. It's a faith walk, you know. On the natural level, I am going to be a minimalist, making sure her children and grandchildren can make it in this world, you know, make it to their finish lines, their own personal goals. Yeah. I don't desire a career anymore, not the traditional kind, If I do anything, it's just going to be continuing to talk, continuing to, just fast cash to make sure I maintain, you know, um, making sure my offspring receive their inheritance. We're not rich people, but, you know, we got something that's worth maintaining, so we're going to do it. We're going to mow our lawn, you know, maintain our homes, keep our little cars going, pray for one another, be there. And I'm just going to keep sharing my knowledge, my experiences until they can stand on their own 2 feet and walk strong and pass on the blueprint of our bloodline, of our legacy. And if they forget, it's being shared with a lot of people. So there will be people out there to help them remember, to remember who they are. That's the only reason why this crazy lady is sharing anything with anybody. Because it's getting rough out here, guys. It's getting rough out here. And there are so many of us who are surrounded by people every day, but we're still very alone. Still very alone. Not alone as in like, ah, she alone, ah, he alone. Like it's something to be funny. You know what I mean? People have lost their mothers. People have lost their fathers. People have lost their children. People have lost their grandparents. People have lost jobs. People have lost their husbands and wives. And there has been a lot of loss, people. Some of us are working under circumstances and conditions. My mouth is dry. Maybe I should try to drink something. That are harsh, but there aren't a lot of options, you know. And I've spent 40 years in the workplace. And in that 40-year span, I have seen a lot. I have experienced a lot. I've worked, you know, not a lot of places, but, I've worked well, I have worked a lot of places. I won't say that. I've worked a lot of places. I've probably been exposed to probably about 50 companies as a temporary worker. I have worked in California, Florida, Georgia, of course, Michigan. And I mean, I don't need to work everywhere in the world to have a decent idea as to what goes on. And you don't have to make a lot of money to own a couple of things. And those are the kind of things that I just want to share for people who can use the information. To a lot of people, what I say is foolish, crazy, stupid, dumb, ridiculous. There's no point, you know. And I'm used to that kind of response, and it's okay. That's the kind of world we live in. These are the kind of days of Noah. When Most High Himself said He repented that He even made man, He repented that He even bothered to make us. You know, dang. Also, people say these are similar to the times of what Sodom and Gomorrah too. We have war, multiple wars on this earth. My Lord, my Lord, my Lord. In my lifetime, at least 2 to 3 presidents have had their life threatened with actual physical attempts. I don't know about you guys, but I am devastated that a president, a former president, during my lifetime, now this is at least the second one during my lifetime, has been shot at. And we act like it's no big deal. Well, my anxiety is over the top. Mine is. I don't care who. This is not safe for any of our presidents. Whether we like them or not is irrelevant. This country has got to be under some type of. We've been infiltrated, guys, in my opinion. We've been infiltrated. We can no longer be under our own government anymore. There's no way. No way in the world. No way. It is business as usual after any president, former, current. It is not okay with me. It is not okay with me. I do not feel safe. This country is not under its own government leadership anymore. I don't know what more it takes to prove it. I don't know what more it takes. But whatever is going on, we all need to make better decisions for our families. We have millions and millions and millions of people in this country, and we don't even know who they are on many levels. On some levels, yes, but on many levels, we don't. No one is safe. No one is safe. And it's time for us to cut out unnecessary things, cut out unnecessary business, cut out unnecessary affairs, unnecessary people, unnecessary things, and focus on what is most important. Start with yourself, start with your bloodline, start within your home. Outside of that, you really can't afford much else. If you really look, some of us may think that we're sitting pretty and riding high, but if you look close enough, you may realize that you need to safeguard, you need to change some things around. Focus on what's most important. reprioritize. Things are changing and they're changing fast. Know where you belong. Know where you fit in. Get there and stay for a little while. We're living during a time no one's listening to anyone anymore. We have a few people out there, though. We have a few people out there that have good messages and they have large followings. And that's a blessing. That's a blessing all day. But we're living during a time where it's difficult to hear. It's difficult to hear anyone else. And that's because everyone needs to go within first. Go within first. It is difficult to hear someone else when you should be listening to your inner self. When you should be listening to Most High, you are not going to hear anyone else. In a moment, a lot of people will be covering not only other people's mouths, but their own mouths. And certain people will be allowed to speak and others will not. It's just that simple. Who has the authority? Who makes these decisions? There must be clarity moving forward in our homes, at work. There aren't going to be very many other places to go besides home and work. There's going to be very few places to go. There may be a few. Get it in now while you can because, wow, we must prepare ourselves not only for good days, but for bad days too. We must be prepared for both the good and the bad. Excuse my, I need to, my mouth is really dry. Let me get something to drink. I keep saying that, but I won't get up to do it. but um, but I'm gonna go ahead and cut this live short and encourage you all to stay focused. Those of you who can work, work. Those of you who can't, it's not because you're not physically capable, you know. You just may not have permission to right now. You may say permission. All I gotta do is go file an application and do the job. Okay, do that. Sometimes when we disobey Most High, because all we gotta do is physically go do something, but we don't necessarily emotionally need to do it, spiritually need to do it, mentally we don't need to be doing it, even though we have the physical ability to do it. Sometimes the consequences to such disobedience and violation because of a privilege can lead to unforeseen consequences that can last for decades and generations. So even though I may be physically able to do something doesn't mean that on a long term basis it's in the best interest of my physical, my mental, spiritual, emotional health. There's more to a person than just their physical capability. People have emotional sides to them. They have their mental side to them and emotional, several sides. And when we live with people, we must consider all their sides. When we work with people, we must consider all their sides. When we socialize with people, we must consider all their sides, insides and out. There are more to a person's inside life than there is to a person's outside life, although it's all connected. Things like emotions and spirituality and mental state are things that aren't always easily detectable, visible when it comes to a person. There are certain things that are easier to detect because of a person's physical. So that's why through conversation and time, uh, people can get to know each other. They can gel and know if not only can they, connect on a physical level, but do they connect, you know, energetically. Energetically, meaning those other areas mental, emotional, and spiritual. All alignments are needed for the best balanced home, for the best work environments, for the best social situations. There was a time people invested more effort into securing such situations, but nowadays, our homes, our work lives, and our social lives have become so disposable, easy to flip over, easy to turn, or, you know, just easy. So, after 40 years, I am going to use my textbooks and my own personal experience and just start, sharing my work history stories, work history stories. And, I won't use names and specific stuff, per se. I'll try to be as, you know, I guess sort of as ambiguous as possible or whatever. But, um, just start sharing stories and, in different situations, how things could have been better, you know, and, just the pros and cons, the funny things, and, what I learned and whatnot. And it's not that I will never work again. I'm just not going to, I'm just not going to really like punch clocks per se. You know, I won't be as, I'm going to pursue more, speaking things, maybe, pastoring and writing books and again, of course, the family. For me, the family is the most important thing. But you know, there's still that part of me that's creative. I'm still interested in entrepreneurship, like, my hats and things with the braids and stuff like that. You know, I'm just in a different phase now. It used to be so important to me to have a career. Oh my God, that was like the thing. I mean, that's why I went to college, you know. But you know, it came and went, and I'm okay with it. My time came and went, and instead of suffering through the next 7 years, just being laughed at, mocked, and for just being who I am, I'm just bubbly. You know what I mean? I figure, hey, just tap out and do my own thing. You know, if I'm my own boss, doing my own little, small time thing, then I'm just dealing with myself, and depending on how it's built, then maybe a child or grandchild can take it and grow it into what they want. It just depends on, you know, where things go from here. So I just want to keep my options open within myself, you know, um, create multiple streams of income from my own creative work. It'll take a minute, but I've been patient with family life for, whew, well over 30 years and going on 35, close to 35 years. And I can be patient with myself as I create, for me, so that I can leave my own personal legacy, so that I can leave my own personal generational wealth for my bloodline offspring. There's just so much more I want to do for them, but I know I can't achieve those things with the traditional 9 to 5 type gig. I don't see myself getting there that way. It will take other ways, other creative ways for my own intuitive relationship with Most High. That's the way it'll happen. And I'm ready for it. I'm happy for me. I feel free. I don't have that inner conflict anymore. I had that inner conflict for whew, since I was 18 years old, you know what I mean? Wanting to go to college, be this career woman, wanting to be Claire Huxtable so bad. Not just her, but well, her as the career and having that husband. The kids part, that was entertainment to see, you know. I mean, I was their age when I was watching it. But it was her that I was looking at as, oh, that's the kind of woman I want to be in the future. You know what I'm saying? Although I was, Lisa Bonet's age when I was watching it, you know? So, if that makes sense. All right, guys, I've been yapping long enough. Thank you for watching. Thanks for all the views, the likes. I don't have my comment section on yet. I'm not ready for that yet. I'm just going to keep, popping up live and just talking as I become more comfortable with it, you know. And I'm retiring. I'm retiring in my own way. In my own way. Does it mean I'm not going to ever work again? No, no. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that those old dreams of being that traditional career woman who wear, you know, white shirts on interviews with, navy blue jackets and skirts and stockings and, matching shoes. You have a briefcase. And, those days are gone. I was during that time. And people just don't show up at interviews like that anymore. And I'm just like, wow, this is interesting. you know? Mhm. But it was fun when I think back over those 40 years. It was fun. It was amazing. It wasn't what I ordered, it wasn't what I went to school for, but it was still amazing. I made it amazing. I think I would have been amazing no matter what. I would have been amazing as a college professor. I would have been amazing as a janitor at my kids' elementary school. I'm sure I have done janitor work at my kids' elementary school. But again, even if I had been the president of the United States, you know, I believe I have the ability to possess it. Maybe not run for it and get elected, voted for, and all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I believe I have the ability to possess it, though. Mhm. But anyway, guys, that's something else. And I want to say in ways I probably have, but that's another video. All right, let me get off of here, guys. Thank you all for this freedom, to get out of here and just do this, just talk my stuff, tell it the way I see it, the way it's given to me. And I know I'm crazy, and I've learned to love it, every bit of it. People have rejected me because of my craziness. People have lost love for me because of my craziness. People laugh at me, they mock me, they all kind of stuff. Now I'm learning how to laugh at them. I'm learning how to laugh back at them. It's really interesting because I'm learning to accept me. I just don't have to be like everybody else. Not that I even want to, but I'm just saying the pressure is no longer there. And maybe it's because the people are gone. The people took their pressure with them. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful. am so thankful and I'm happy. And something that I was once so fearful of, giving up my independence. I mean, I had 5 suicide attempts because I did not want to give up my independence. My independence at age 13 saved my life. It allowed me to go live a whole new life, not even make a lot of money. I've never made a lot of money. I've never made a lot of money on my own. But what little bit of money I have made in my lifetime and what my husbands were generous enough to, share with me. It's hard to get husbands to share anything, but what they did share, I made the most of it. I made the most of it because I knew I didn't have much to work with in this life. So I had to squeeze every little bit of that $4.25 when I was 13 years old. And I've had to squeeze every little bit from this last job that I worked. And I had to squeeze, and I still squeezing every little bit that I had to fight for in my divorce to make sure that me, my kids, and grandkids would not be in the streets begging for bread, like the Bible said. The steps of a righteous man are ordered by the Lord. And basically, at the end of the day, his children, her children, should not be begging for bread. Not begging anyway. I don't mind asking, and it should be free. But begging, we haven't had to go there yet. Going through my divorce, while he left me for somebody else, I had to sleep in my car, for a couple weeks and all that while they were happy and laughing off and doing what they do. But I squoze every little red penny I could to make sure me, my kids, and grandkids were okay. And guess what, guys? It worked. It worked. Not every woman out here is some greedy, gold digging woman. She's just exercising her right to eat and feed her children. I'm not no rich woman, but what little bit I have, I had to suffer for it. And I have every right to leave it to my children and grandchildren. And if people want to call me crazy and laugh at me, then do it. Because I like it. I really, really like it. All right now. The DeBarge song is playing in the background. Anyway, I like my crazy life, y'all. I like it. I like it. And don't worry, people. Usually when, we're done, it's over. I don't bother people when our contracts are over. All right, guys. I love you all so much. You all be blessed.